Hello, hello. Okay, this is me. This is me dusting off the rust. All right, there we go. Hello. Happy Wednesday. Happy June. Oh my gosh, it's been so long since I've seen you all. There's so much that we have to talk about. But today, we're here for one thing and one thing only, and that's office hours. It, Give me a minute. It's been a couple of months since I've gone publicly live. Maybe a month. Okay, 420 was just 2 months ago, but I can't believe it's June. So, if you aren't familiar with what our office hours are, typically our office hours are ways for the community, folks just like you, to connect with individuals, to ask your questions, particularly on workforce. So, if you're looking for a job, if you're looking to get promoted, this is the time where you're able to get all of the information. Plus, I do a little bit of training too. But if you have no idea who I am, oh my gosh, welcome to our home online, our YouTube home, our video home. Wherever you see this, it may be clipped up. I am Keisha. I'm the CEO of Explore Maryland Cannabis, and I'm honored and I know that it is a privilege to serve you each and every day, bringing you this information that I have collected over the last few years. And typically, it relates to careers and workforce. Sometimes it may relate to Maryland, specifically our industry here in the cannabis industry, or our East Coast region, because things are moving. But today, we're going to talk a bit about our workforce folks. So it's been a minute, like I mentioned, but it's only been a month. Did y'all have a good break? I hope y'all had a good break. This, like I mentioned, is our office hours. I'd like to welcome you to it. We are here to help you get your questions answered and to learn a little bit. So, this is a quick 30-minute office hours based on some questions that have been submitted over the last couple of weeks. And I've got, of course, a presentation because you already know I love a good presentation. I'm going to go ahead and pull it up right now. I've got my Vanna White, which is, i.e., my other hand, operating our presentation on the other side. But let's go ahead and get started. All right. So this is our office hours. This month, we will be here live every Wednesday, giving you different tips and tricks, trainings, just some insight around building your career. It's summertime. A lot of folks aren't thinking about what to do in the summer. They are thinking about relaxing, they're thinking about vacation. I also think this is a great time for you to level up your skill sets and really dig into who you want to be, correct? Yes, me, just me. Okay, well, that's okay. If it's just me, I'm going to stand on business. But if it's you too, I hope that you enjoy the next couple of weeks as we talk a bit about building you and giving you a little bit of some secrets to get started. All right, let's go. So, if this is your first time joining us, hi from Explore Maryland Cannabis. I'm so happy that we have gotten connected. So, let's talk a little bit about who we are and what we do. We are Explore Maryland Cannabis, a community membership and outreach organization. We have been in this space since 2018. We have been providing pathways for individuals to enter into the ecosystem through education and access. We believe in community, workforce, and connections. Those are the three pillars that we stand on, right? And so you're here because there's obviously some education and access that you're looking for, and we're hoping that we can usher you in through this pathway. So connect with us, take a class. We have one later tonight, as we will every Wednesday night throughout the month. Attend an event. We've got some events coming up as well. And of course, share us with your fam because one, not only talking about cannabis openly helps to break the stigma, but it's also pretty cool when you can put somebody on. And I'm telling you, this is the best connection you could ever make with someone that you love. So, a bit about our values. At our core, we foster genuine connections within our community. We ensure inclusivity by being visible to all. Our initiatives are transparent and open to all who wish to engage. And we wholeheartedly embrace and take ownership of our ecosystem because we know that, we all can work those 6 parts if you're familiar with our patients, professionals, industry, government, business, and providers, right? That is a way that we all can stay connected. So, more about getting connected is joining our weekly email newsletter. If you happen to be here from the Workforce Wednesday gang, shout out to you all. We, of course, have our monthly trainings, and you can sign up via our website at exploremarylandcannabis.com. All right, we've got those formalities out the way. Like I mentioned, we talk about pathways here because we believe that sometimes you need a little bit of guidance to get to where you want to be. So this is our pathway to cannabis, which is a workforce pathway. So we got a question. This is ushering in today's topic of how do I land my dream role in cannabis? Well, let me tell you, you're not going to land your dream role. Sorry to say, you're not going to land your dream role, but I can help you, and the team here at Explore Maryland Cannabis can help you establish your values, connect it with your training to help you align with a company that could possibly make your dreams come true. So, all right, so I'm going to go ahead and run it down. I'm going to run it down. Today's topic is basically how to get started in the cannabis industry. We're going to start from a very 101 level. We're going to talk very basic. And before I get started, shout out to Caroline. They are one of our premier sponsors. Was not an ad for them, but I did notice that I had the shirt on, so I want to shout them out. If you're looking for packaging, marketing, custom design, they are Maryland-based. They are local-based, and they are probably unofficially our workforce sponsors for this month. So I'll be sure to let them know about that. But build your library. These are my 4 tools, my 4 pieces of text that I live by when it comes to how I want to operate, how I wanted to get started. The Leafly Guide to Cannabis is a handbook. It might be a bit out of date because we've got so much new innovative things that's happening in our industry, but it's definitely a great place to start. The Cannabis Pharmacy is one that you'll see in many dispensaries, on many coffee tables, and in various places where cannabis is regularly talked about because this is where it started. All cannabis use is medicine, by the way. So no matter what you're treating, whether it's depression, whether it's sadness, that is that form. Third book by Steve D'Angelo is called The Cannabis Manifesto. Of course, these 3 titles you could probably find in your local library without spending any money, right? These are great ways to help build your library, see what you like, see what you don't like. And I threw in Chef Andrea Drummer's Cannabis Cuisine. It's a cooking book, a cookbook, by the way. And if you're looking to get some fancy recipes, talking about butters and oils, all about elevating your knowledge, that's exactly where you need to tap in. Just my suggestions. So if you happen to have any suggestions, let me know what your 4 titles are that are in your library. So we're going to jump right into the training. All right. So we've got 5 steps to help you get started in the cannabis industry. And the first step I like to always start with is understand the industry. Now, understanding the industry could look very different depending on exactly where you're pulling from. So an industry in Maryland doesn't necessarily look like an industry in New Jersey or Delaware, but there are things that keep us very much of a common thread. There is our folks who are badged and are working in the industry. They're the ones who are keeping us up to date on what's going on. They're the ones who are help package the products. They're the ones who are typically the people you should talk to. So dive into real deep dive, right? Take some time to research and learn about the different segments of the industry: cultivation, retail, distribution, and even some ancillary services. I also recommend you tap in with your local advocate group, your advocacy group, the ones who are doing the grassroots work, because they also have an ear to the ground on what's going on, what may be happening legislatively, and also if there are ways you're looking to spread the word to help break the stigma about the industry, these are great groups to start with. And just shout out to my folks who are in the slide. These are individuals who I've worked with, campaigned with, connected with over the last few years, and they have helped me understand and to continue to understand our industry here in Maryland. On that note, I want to say stay connected. Connect with your local industry folks. Shout out to Spark Maryland. They do a monthly professional networking event of folks who are in the cannabis, whether it's plant touching or non plant touching industry. And it's a great way to also figure out who's hiring, who's firing, who's expanding, who's downsizing. Great times. And events like that, online forums, different social media groups, which take with a grain of salt, right? I always say LinkedIn is probably the greatest social media network for business all day when it comes to understanding this industry. Did you have any questions? If not, we'll slide on over to slide 2. So our slide 2 is to get the right education and training. So a lot of people poo-poo on newsletters and newspapers and physical books. But guess what, folks? A lot of things that are written are meant to be read. And you can decide whether or not it needs to be tossed to the side or incorporated into your everyday language, vernacular, knowledge base. You can do that on your own through some self-search, like I mentioned, newsletters, email newsletters of professional organizations like NCIA, the National Cannabis Industry Association. I usually set up Google alerts, which we'll talk more about in some of our trainings coming up, around what's going on, what's happening in Maryland, what's happening in New Jersey, what's happening in California, what's happening in Arizona. I need to know. And that is one of the easiest ways. Is it comes in very simply as an online, checking my email, let me read what's going on and keep it moving. We are also super fortunate in the state of Maryland to have institutions who have certifications and in actual degrees of Maryland cannabis education, right? So whether you want it to be a dispensary agent, bud tender, whether you want to know a little bit more about cultivation, whether you want to get a master's in cannabis science and therapeutics, right? You want to be able to talk a bit more about the pharmacological environment around the plant. There's so much here, right? And like I mentioned, we're fortunate in Maryland, but there are other states that are expanding. There's curriculum in New Jersey. There is curriculum in Illinois. I mean, there's just so much to tap into. So you can get the right education. I always say start with what you have access to. Google alerts, YouTube, newspapers, newsletters, community meetings, especially because if a particular dispensary or cultivation space wants to come into the community, you can also understand what's going on there, because they typically have to go up against zoning boards and community members to talk about what's going on. So stay tapped in. And if you're looking for some of the newer, shout out to our new social equity license holders that are coming online, you can check them out at the MCA website. Their organizations are all listed, and you can maybe start talking to them early about what you do, why you do it, and take a little bit of interest in what they've got going on. You could tell them I sent you, just in case. The third step is to build your skills. So there's two types of skills. There's technical skills and soft skills. A lot of times people really like to hone in on the technical skills of knowing this and being able to pair, that with all of these different things. I was the head grower, the head horticulturalist. I was the lead floor manager. So you've got these amazing skills, but they're nothing without soft skills. They're nothing without being able to communicate, being able to problem solve, being able to work in a team, right? So one of the ways that I always like to tell people is that cannabis is very similar to retail. If you've ever worked a job in a retail environment, shout out to Apple, shout out to Lush. If you've ever worked a retail job, you know what it means to have great customer service skills, right? Because those reviews before Yelp, before Google reviews, those reviews used to come in on the website or they would email to a manager and imagine them getting back to you, right? Because you had a bad day, because you didn't necessarily know how to regulate your emotions, because you were selling weed before selling weed was a thing, right? So you know how to do it. And I'm here to tell you that that's great. But also, can you do it in a fast-paced environment? Because some dispensaries sell hundreds of thousands of dollars a day. Millions. I know there's a few of them that do $1 million a day. I know the Starbucks in Loyola, Goucher, one of the schools, does $1 million a day. What is your skill set? What have you done to build up that armor to be able to work in a fast-paced, fast evolving environment? Those are the skills that bosses, leadership, GMs, floor leads, lead associates, lead bud tenders, lead dispensary agent, cultivator, trimmer, processing agent, all of y'all, that's all of what you need, because that's what they're going to be looking for, wherever you want to be. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna let you know this right now. The job that you had before you entered into the cannabis industry, definitely, I'm sure you have some relevant experience. But don't send in a regular resume that you've already done, you've always done. You blanket send them all to the people on LinkedIn. You have to tailor your resume. You have to. Because if you don't, it's not going to make it to the top of the pile. It's not going to impress anyone. And of course, if you got your local bud tender giving you a referral, the boss is going to look at the resume like, and toss it to the side, because your relevant experience has nothing to do with what they currently need now. And that's no shade, no foul, but I just want to let you know that highlighting your relevant experience makes it easy for folks to figure out whether or not you're going to be a good fit. And that's the most important piece of all of this. You have to be able to fit. And unfortunately, that can lean for or against you. But there's a fit for you. Absolutely, always, everywhere. Just a balance. It's just a juggling game. But I won't tap into that too hard. We'll talk a little bit about that later this month. Professional presentation. Do not show up with a resume that's got all kinds of errors and spelling, grammar, contextual information. Shoot, don't put no pictures on resumes. I've got a few resumes and they've had pictures on them. I'm like, don't do that. Don't do that, because it's easier, unfortunately, for you to be placed to the back of the pile because of the fit. All right. So making sure that you tailor your resume, you want to highlight your relevant experience, take the stuff out that doesn't make sense, push the stuff up that is very much cannabis related, whether it's retail, agriculture, or healthcare. Those skills that are transferable, make sure that your resume speaks to that. And also, making sure it looks a little nice. Look nice. Don't just be tossing your resume, because there's a real person who's looking at it. I trust you. Before you submit it to the computer generator and it gets placed in, whether it's a small or a large organization, someone eventually is going to look at your resume, and you don't want them to pull it up and be like, they spelled cannabis wrong. Don't be that one, please. Step 5. This is our last step. How y'all hanging in? I'm doing good with time. I'm so happy that you all have joined in. But step 5 is ace the interview, baby. You got it. You got it. And the way that you got it is you're going to prepare thoroughly. Not only are you going to prepare thoroughly, you're going to research the company, the mission, their values, and you're going to be ready to speak to how your skill set fits in with their needs. If you know they just opened up a new location in your neighborhood, there's no one better to speak about the people that will be coming through this institution, this shop, this grow, whatever it may be, because you are already there. You know, you are firsthand. So making sure that you prepare thoroughly, understand their missions, and talking about your skills and how it meets their needs, that is important. Of course, show your passion, but don't get extra, okay? Don't get extra because you don't want to scare them. You don't want to scare them. But you want to show them that you really give a damn, and excuse the language, but you really do. There are so many people who come into interviews, there are so many people who come into job environments and they play real casual. I want you to tell me why you want to be here. Show me why you want to be here. Show me why you'll be a great fit for this team. Show me why you'll be promotable, level upable, teachable, developmentable, all the ables. How can you show them your passion without being Drake weird? It's okay. Just demonstrate your enthusiasm and let them know that, you know, you see them, you see the growth, you saw the new hire, you saw the new cure on the product that they put out, you saw the new product that they put out, which you didn't like, but you gave them feedback which made sense, because they're going to ask you to ask some questions. So make up some questions in your head in the car before you enter into the interview. Okay. I don't want you to walk into it and then leave and they not know how passionate you are because you were playing it cool. Don't play it cool, baby. This is yours. All right. Those are our 5 tips. My last bonus tip for you is to stay informed and adaptable. I'll go big. Stay informed and adaptable, because at the end of the day, this industry moves so fast, so quick, and I don't want you to get left behind. All right? Okay. That was our training for today. If you happen to be watching the replay, thank you so much. If you happen to be watching live, I appreciate you. I do. But we've got a couple of minutes to go before we wrap up. But I just want you all to remember that your network is your net worth for sure, always and forever. We've got a few things coming up. Like I mentioned, in the month of June, we will be live every day. Every Wednesday afternoon and evening. We'll be doing office hours during the day and live trainings in the evening. This is when we'll deep dive in some of the topics that we talked about. So feel free to tap in. We'll be live tonight. I'll be looking for you. Like I mentioned, we'll be live every Wednesday, answering your questions, deep diving into a topic of some sort. But I just want to make sure that everybody is well aligned for this summer, because it's going to be a great summer. And there's going to be so much, especially we're coming up in Maryland. We're coming up on a year of adult use. It's only up from here. Next week, we'll be talking about career paths in the cannabis jungle. Okay? Career paths in the cannabis jungle. I want to make sure that you know what's going on. Make sure that you're there. Bring your notes. Tag a friend. Tell a friend. And I'll see you next Wednesday. Thank y'all so much. I'm so excited. That's all I got. I'll see you soon. Oh, yeah. I'll see you in a few hours. Good night.